Let's say we want to add a new property into the car object, mileage. But unlike any other properties, we want the value of the mileage property to be unchangeable. So, how do we do that? Creating a property whose value is unchangeable is simple. We call the object-define-property method. Then we set the writable attribute to false. But the problem is, the first argument value of the define-property method needs to be an object. We need the mileage property to be defined before we new the constructor function, so that when we new the constructor again, another instance object can still receive the same unwritable mileage property. So, what should we do? The solution is to define mileage as a prototype property. The prototype property's value is an object. We can use it as the first argument value for the define property method. Now, the value of the mileage property is no longer changeable. Every time we create an instance object using the car constructor, that instance object will inherit the unwritable mileage property. Let's test our program. First, we output mileage. We can see the instance object has inherited it. Then, we try to reset its value. We can see it does not work. The mileage value stays unchanged. If you need to define accessors, you should also define them as prototype properties. This is the real-life application of prototype properties. We use constructor's prototype as the argument value for the define property method. Next, let's define static properties. Static properties are properties defined in the constructor itself. They will not be affected by instance objects and can only be accessed via the constructor function. We also cannot access them via the instance object. But the underscore proto property of the instance object stores two memory addresses. The first points to the constructor function. This enables us to get the constructor function from the instance object. From there, we can access static properties. If we need to access a static property from an instance method, we can access it via this .constructor. For example, we create a new instance method, getLocation. We can access the static location property via this .constructor.location. We can see the new method works. The static location value has been retrieved.